Good morning, and welcome to the River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Nancy Coran, and I'm a member of the Earth Ministry, which is leading today's service. If this is your first time here in person, we welcome you. We hope you will stop by the welcome table in the foyer so that we can get to know you and get connected. For those watching live on YouTube, please feel free to join in the chat with our online host. If you are watching this at a later date and have questions, please visit our website to learn how to connect with us. 2 announcements today. A memorial for longtime River Road member and social activist Don Cherry Jr. will be held at River Road Unitarian Universalist Church on Saturday, July 26th at 2 p.m. Now, are you looking for a way to get involved in the congregation? Consider volunteering. Would you like to set up a lay-led service like today's? Help collect the offering, plan a dinner or a brunch? All of these and more will let you get involved in a way that works for you. We have created a form with some volunteer opportunities that we invite you to fill out. Go to bit.ly, RRUUC volunteers, or find the QR code set up on the coffee hour tables. It's going to be over there. Details for all of our programs and upcoming events can be found on our website at rruuc.org.
Good morning, I'm Heidi Mordhorst. Welcome to our service entitled New Leaves, Fresh Blossoms, Green Fruit, Saving Trees and Planting More of Them. We begin our time together by lighting our chalice, the chosen symbol of our faith, and with this poem entitled Lost by David Wagoner. Lost. Stand still. The trees ahead and bushes beside you are not lost. Wherever you are is called here, and you must treat it as a powerful stranger, must ask permission to know it and be known. The forest breathes. Listen. It answers, I have made this place around you. If you leave it, you may come back again, saying, here. No 2 trees are the same to raven. No 2 branches are the same to wren. If what a tree or bush does is lost on you, you are surely lost. Stand still. The forest knows where you are. You must let it find you. And now we begin our learning.
I'm Bruce Davis with the Earth Ministry. Our Unitarian Universalist principles call upon us to honor the interdependent web of existence of which we are a part. In our services, we acknowledge that we pick fruit from trees we did not plant, and this is okay if we do our part to take care of creation. Today we'll hear from two people who have made creation care a central part of their lives. We'll hear from Hank Dearden, the founder of ForestPlanet. Hank orchestrates large-scale tree planting projects all over the world. Then we'll hear from River Road member John Nowick. John volunteers with Tree Friends United, which protects trees right here in Montgomery County from being strangled by invasive vines. Before we hear from our speakers, John has asked us to each of us to take a minute to reflect on our own relationship with trees. So please take 30 seconds now to reflect on your relationship, and that could be with trees in general or with one tree that has been especially important in your life. After taking about 30 seconds to think of your relationship with trees, I'd ask you to talk to one of your neighbors, maybe somebody who you don't know very well, but somebody close to you, and share your thoughts. And after that, Heidi will ring the gong to end the reflection period, and then we'll sing a song for the beauty of the earth. And after that, we will hear from Hank and John. So let's start reflecting on what trees mean to you.
Which tree are you thinking of? Reflecting is very talkative. Make sure you're giving everyone a chance to speak. Did everyone have a chance to share? We will now stand and sing for the beauty of the earth. And now we'll hear from Hank Dearden of ForestPlanet on how to plant trees and plant hope.
Good morning, everyone. Can we get the first slide? Very much appreciate being here. I actually have a long history. I was raised in Bethesda, and one of the, get emotional. Tara Brock, she used to do her talks here. I used to come a lot. After the 2016 election, my biggest feeling at the time was fury. I was so angry, and I stood right over there, and I asked her, what do I do with this? And she said, channel it. ForestPlanet. So I would say that I wouldn't say I was a very spiritual person, but I'm extremely passionate. They might be two sides of the same coin. I'll let you decide. And I'm very much an empiricist, and I'll apologize in advance if I end up sounding at the end of this talk a little bit more like the money changer in the temple, because I'm kind of a bottom line kind of guy. So next slide, please. First, this guy wants to say hello. We can roll tape. Hello, all the good people there of River Road Unitarian Universalist Church. Hank Dearden, broadcasting live from Tanzania. Today is June 20th, and I'm going to say I hope today, there in the future, everybody's enjoying the presentation. Love to talk to anyone and everyone, explain what we're doing. We've got some clips here from what we're doing here in this particular site in Tanzania. But it's such a lovely shot of the Indian Ocean behind me, I thought you might enjoy it there on a beautiful Sunday morning in Bethesda. So on with the show. Okay.
Not live from Tanzania.
Exactly a month. So next slide, please. So very quickly about ForestPlanet. We're a 501c3 based here in Washington, D.C. 2 million trees planted to date. It's really a drop in the bucket for what's needed, but you got to start somewhere. They say the way to 2 billion is through 2 million. You got to start there. High volume, low cost per tree, and I'll keep coming back to that in terms of amount of impact that can be had at very little cost. Focusing on the developing world for a lot of reasons. That's from Madagascar, where we first started. And low cost is 15 cents. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, yeah, I was wondering how this was going to show up. So, right. So as we say, we focus on the developing world, where do you plant the trees in the backyard? And really what I want to say, it does not matter, because I don't know if you can see this, folks at home, anybody familiar with Voyager 1 and how far it is away now? And when it was sort of sailing past Saturn a long time ago, they turned around and took a picture. And it's hard to see, but there's a little dot. Can you see the little dot?
Yes.
Wave, that's you.
It's a white dot.
You're on camera. So when I say, where do you plant trees? I go here, because it's all frickin' here. Come on. We are surrounded by suspended in a vast, empty, lifeless, pitiless void, like it or not. So, yeah, empirically, we got to take care of the little dot, or we're kind of screwed. So, next slide, please. Biggest stress of the land is the stress of human desperation. How many people are familiar with Wangari Maathai? Very few. She's the only African woman to ever win the Nobel Peace Prize. It was in 2002-ish. She spent her life planting trees, 50 million or so in her lifetime, which was quite an accomplishment, and so she was quite deserving of the prize. I want to plant 50 billion, but, you got to start somewhere. But really, the core of her point here is a famous quote from Bill Clinton: "It's the economy, stupid." So really, if you want to address ecological issues, you can't do it unless you also address economic issues. There's a billion, with a B, desperate people on this planet right now, and they are living short term. They're not stupid. They got to feed their babies now. They do not think sustainably. They do not think long-term. Why? Because they're desperate. So unless you address that, it's pointless. Okay, and I would also submit that those 1 billion people cutting down their last tree for firewood are doing more harm than all the oil companies ever. All right, just math. That's just the math of the situation. So we are all about that and making things happen. So next slide, please. Trees are wonderful creatures, but like anything else, they can be done wrong. So it's all about planting the right trees in the right place at the right time, in the right way. This is a nursery in Usambara mountain regions of Tanzania. There's 12 or 13 million seedlings in there at any given time. Those are trees. It looks like grass, but that's every species you can name from that incredible place. And people will work all day long taking care of that for 15,000 Tanzanian shillings. And you have to put cash in their hand at the end of the day. And thank you very much. That's $6. That's where I get the 15 cents, because we're working with the incongruencies of the economies. But that's what needs to happen. When we raise money to plant trees, it mostly goes to the people for raising. So next slide, please. So here is a map. Talk about the interdependent web of existence. This is at the core of this story. I'll try to be brief. This is Tanzania, the Pangani River, the Indian Ocean on the right, Mount Kilimanjaro up in the middle. That's the watershed. It's one of the bigger rivers in East Africa, and we're going to talk about the water, because it really is actually all about the water, if not more so than the carbon. People talk about carbon in trees, and really the water cycle is actually more the deal. Next slide, please. That's me. There's 69,000 up in Arente. I'm sorry, in the mountains in the Arente. The point here was to plant these types of trees in a hillside to capture water. These particular trees go very fast and they go very straight and they play nicely together and they capture the water. They basically turn the mountain into a sponge. That's the point. The well that supports this village was draining, was going down, and now it's going up and up a little bit, poco a poco or pole pole, slowly, slowly, as they say in Swahili. So that's the agenda of this, and that's good for them, and it's also good for the people downstream that you'll hear about in a second. So next slide, please. We can roll tape on this. So there's another 120,000 more trees. That's a loquat. It's kind of hard to see because they're small. And there's another loquat. And when you plant 120,000 and they're only 12 inches tall, they're kind of hard to see. So what we did is we got our friendly drone operator, who we paid for. We bought the drone for them so they could help tell the story, because it's all about the story. So you guys can see it here, if you want to travel to Tanzania. So now we're starting to pull out, and you can see there's a lot of scrub. We don't want to cut away the scrub, but to give you a sense of scale, those are people. The last guy tottering down, almost falling down, that would be guess who, in his Patagonia. But now you can sort of see the lines. You can see the channels. That's where 168,000 trees are going. And they're all about hanging on to the water. And this is uphill from a village that relies on the well, about 3,000 people. If that well goes away, then you have 3,000 refugees. Desperation. So we're trying to nip that at the bud. So next slide, please. And this is a result, and you can see the water. This is only a few years. People say, well, it takes forever for the trees to grow, and I go, yeah, that's true. But within 2 or 3 years, they're hanging on the water, and you can now intercrop. So it's hard to see in the front, but that's corn and beets and yams and potatoes and carrots that can be grown between the trees. Eventually, they can't, because the trees will crowd it out. But for the meantime, in the short term, you can do this type of thing. And human desperation, food, money, income security, food security happens almost instantly. And oh, by the way, carbon's being sequestered. You're really, it's about hanging onto the water and the soil. Next slide, please. Okay, back to the map. Lower right-hand corner, Pangani. Let's go down river to where we're planting mangroves, which are the most important important tree on the planet. I love these creatures. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So there's the guy, and he's in a nursery. We're growing mangrove trees. Mangrove trees grow on the shore. Their root systems are hilariously important. All the fish that you have in the ocean, many of them are born within the root systems. Each tree is a little estuary, if you can think of it that way. They sequester more carbon than any other tree. When you look at a tree out the window, you're seeing half of it, roughly, here. When you look at a mangrove tree, you're seeing a third of it. 2/3 of it's below. So when they talk about sequestering carbon, I mean, that baby, that's gone. Gone, baby, gone. It's down there. And even if you cut the tree down, which I don't do, but it's there. So they're the heroes that will save us. Next slide. From this. That's 50 yards away from that nursery area. And you can see that there's healthy around there. But I can bang on about this for hours. I try not to, why this happened and how do we, but my agenda here is to fix it. That little yellow dot is my nephew. He's 6'2", to give you an idea of scale of what's going on here. In this plane, I was just back, when I was in Tanzania, we were trying to put 400,000 mangroves back here, and we make a lot of success, and then we don't, and then we make a lot of success, and then we don't. So we're learning to make that happen. Let me see, so 50 yards away. Okay, next slide, please. So really, at the end of the day, it's all about rolling up your sleeves. We're doing some trenching here. This is taken in 2024, June of 2024. We're trying trenches to get things to work. Next slide. And that's June of 2025. They're now looking good. They're about 2 feet. Oh my God, that felt good. Yeah, to get out there and see that. I can tell you. Mostly because it was a pain in the ass to get there. That is mud, and it's heavy thick with clay, and that's about half a mile from where the car was. So yeah, you got to want it. So we got to stay passionate. And last slide, please. And patient. We can roll this tape. Can we play this video, please? These are mature trees. The leaves are very small. You'll see that some of the light can filter down, the right amount of light, too much. The water evaporates and leaves salt. So mature trees protect the babies. Thank you.
Passionate indeed. Next, we're going to hear from John Nowick and some colleagues of his from Tree Friends United. They're busy saving the trees we have. Come on up.
Thank you, Heidi, and thank you especially, Hank, for all that amazing work you and your organization are doing. What you're about to hear next is the other side of the coin. It's the same coin. We're talking about fighting climate change and enhancing our environment through trees. But unlike Hank's organization, which is a large professional nonprofit NGO organization, what you're about to hear is from Tree Friends United. We are a grassroots citizen action group. We don't have a budget. We don't have bylaws. We don't even have titles for those of us who coordinate it. Number two, Hank's group is international. He's flying off to Tanzania. We're local. We do everything within a short drive of this building. And third and most important, as you heard, Hank's group is dedicated to the important work of planting trees, Tree Friends is dedicated to saving existing trees, especially mature trees. Saving trees from what? What kind of threats are there to trees? Unfortunately, and by the way, I don't claim to be any tree expert, there's all kinds of threats to trees. Disease. Our country has lost 3/4 of its elm trees thanks to Dutch elm disease. Pests. Out west, the American West and Canada, millions of acres of forest have been destroyed by bark beetles. Wildfires, often caused by climate change and drought. You may remember back in January, more than 72 square miles near Los Angeles were destroyed. Meanwhile, this very past week, more than 1,000 square miles, that's like an area more than 30 by 30 miles, up in Canada, Manitoba, are burning. My wife and I were up in Michigan just earlier in the week, and the air pollution there was as bad as we've ever experienced from that smoke from the wildfires. We live in the D.C. area. We got some threats here too. One is developers taking down trees, sometimes more for convenience. But the second thing, and the biggest threat that we focus on here, slide please. What do you all see in this picture? Can someone please shout out what you see? What please? Porcelain, very close. Kudzu, yeah. This is a kudzu field located just a few miles from us off MacArthur Boulevard, less than a mile southeast of Glen Echo Park. And this goes on for a ways. Kudzu is the vine that ate the South, they say, and it's coming up from the south into our area. Slide, please. This is Japanese knotwood, another very voracious vine that takes over on the ground and prevents trees from growing. A third vine, maybe one you're familiar with. What's this? Ivy, English ivy. This is from my front yard. When we moved into our house 17 years ago, the ground cover on our front yard was English ivy. And we spent some of our time preventing it from climbing up and taking over trees. It can grow as tall as the kudzu and getting into neighbors' yards. In fact, I'd known English ivy for years, but did you know English ivy can grow up to like 40 or 50 feet? It can be this thick at the base. This is a vine that my partner Carl, who you'll meet in a second, and I cut a year ago off MacArthur Boulevard. There's also other vines, porcelain berry, oriental bittersweet, many others. If you want a full list, go to our Tree Friends table in the coffee room after this talk. How many if you drive along River Road, Goldsboro, MacArthur Boulevard, Clara Barton Parkway, Cabin John Parkway, parts of the Beltway, or walk on C&O Canal or go to some of our county parks, they're covered with these vines. How many are, well, 3 years ago, when I saw these vines, I thought, wow, DC area really is lush. We're so lucky to have all this greenery. Then, thanks to River Road, I'm in a River Road men's group with a man who's sitting in front here. His name's Carl Gunther. My buddy Carl from the men's group, he's been out for years cutting invasive vines. Carl sensitized me, no, John, what you see out there isn't lushness, well, it is lushness, but it's lushness of an invasive kind. These are non-native invasive plants that are taking over and killing our forests. How many of you, when you drive by some of these roads I just mentioned, notice these and say, hey, that is invasive vines? It looks like maybe half or more of you. And keep your hand up. How many of you care about this problem? A lot of you? Good. Maybe that's why you're here today. Okay. Well, I didn't really care about it till nearly 3 years ago. Then I said to Carl, I don't know much about vines or about trees, but I can do a little organizing and sending emails. So I said, Carl, what if we can get maybe 5 or 10 people volunteer who might be able to join you now and then to cut vines? Carl said, okay. I sent out an email on my listserv in Mohican Hills neighborhood, east of Glen Echo Park. And then I had some friends and acquaintances send out emails in other neighborhoods, Brookmont, Glen Echo, Cabin John and Bannockburn. Now we have more than 200 volunteers who are on call to come. Thanks. Yeah, I applaud those hardworking volunteers too. Now, they don't all turn out all the time, but they're on tap, they're on our email list. You could be one of them, and after the service, there's a sign-in sheet there. But these are folks who are part of our organization. So what do we do? Carl, Una, could you please stand up here too? Slide, please. We sponsor outings, usually twice a month, where we have volunteers join Carl and Una Stieglitz and me and others. And we go out there and we cut these invasive vines. We operate along a 3-mile stretch of MacArthur Boulevard, where most of our volunteers are from, between the Brookmont neighborhood and the Cabin John neighborhood. We spent a lot of time in Glen Echo Park cleaning that up. Carl has led outings down at C&O Canal, locks 7, 8, and 10. And we spend about 2 hours, sometimes on a weekend, sometimes during a weekday, cutting these vines. Slide, please. Oh, sometimes we get even more people. We partner with other environmental groups, and we have prominent local politicians, like in this case, Council Member Andrew Friedson joined us last year at Glen Echo Park. In fact, the politicians now seem to love us. We've had 2 coming to our events so far, and there's 2 more knocking on our doors to come out and be with us this fall. I think they want to hear from us. They also probably want some photo ops, which is fine, but we welcome that. So the first thing we do is go out there and cut vines. And I'm going to say, we haven't tallied it up, but I'm going to say we have saved hundreds of trees. I would guess several thousand trees in the 2.5 years that we've been in existence. The problem is massive, but we're trying to make a dent. The second thing we do is advocacy. That's one reason we're here today. We want to spread a mass movement, have people go out and save our environment. We've spoken before some civic groups. We've also, Carl's been instrumental in this, talked to the leadership of National Park Service, where we operate, Montgomery County Parks, where we also operate. Carl and I have each testified before the county council, and we've spoken to political leaders in Montgomery County. What we try to do, we try to get more resources to combat this problem. And believe me, folks, resources are scarce. They rely on us volunteers. And also, we're trying to get bans on non-native invasive plants at nurseries. And we're trying to promote the selling of native plants. So we've hopefully made a little effort to raise political consciousness, and hopefully you can be part of that. Slide, please. Yeah, we have women joining us. Slide. We've had young folks, students, often trying to get Montgomery County student SSL credit. Slide. And a lot of us are retirees who want to do something to contribute in our retirement. Slide. We've received some rewards and recognition. This is from the Maryland General Assembly has awarded us, as well as the Montgomery County Association of Civic Federations. This was last year. They've rewarded us for our work. Slide, please. And just a month ago, Carl and Una were at a ceremony held by the county council where they honored weed warriors, not just our group, but other groups as well. There's a lot of them around Montgomery County honoring us for our work. But folks, these plaques and rewards and proclamations don't mean so much. What really means something to us is what it means to us personally. What I'd like is perhaps, Una, you could start and just say a few words about what does taking part in saving trees mean to you personally?
Make sure your mics are on.
Yeah. There we go.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting us. Serving with the Tree Friends is always gratifying. The work seems to feed the soul, saving the big, beautiful, mature trees and their offspring for our neighbors and the planet is the right thing to do. With our clippers and crowbars in our own quiet way, we're helping stop destruction and are literally encouraging growth. I'm incredibly thankful for this opportunity.
I guess my initial motivation is just like to be outside. Spent a lot of time out in the woods when I was growing up, and I used to go along the canal and saw all the trees between Loch Echo and the Beltway were just covered with vines, and just decided to take it on the initiative and start cutting them. And it's amazing, a little bit of work and really have a lasting result. So now that I'm retired, I like to stay active, and then there's a big satisfaction in seeing areas get cleared of invasives, not only the vines, but some of these ground plants like Japanese knotweed, which is a big problem now. So I encourage you join us or just go out on your own. It's very satisfying. Great exercise, keeps you in shape. Right, you don't have to be tall.
From my standpoint, I'm probably one of the least spiritual people in this room, but I get a spiritual benefit out of this. For one thing, I recently heard about the Hebrew term tikkun olam. It means repair the world. And I feel like this is one way could do a little part to repair the world. It's sort of like our Unitarian social justice. A second thing is I identify with the view of many Native American cultures that our trees and forests are sacred and they deserve our protection. And I feel that way when I'm out there. And finally, I was out there yesterday with Carl and 11 other volunteers on MacArthur Boulevard down near the Brookmont neighborhood. And I found myself, this may sound silly, when I'm cutting the vines, I'm kind of hugging the tree or cuddling the tree. And I find myself talking softly to the trees and communicating with them and telling them that I'm there to help them, that I'm going to free them up. And I feel, maybe in an egoistical way, that the trees are talking back to me and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's kind of like if you had a little puppy that had a thorn in its paw and you were holding it and getting the thorn out, the same feeling of satisfaction you get from that. Actually, these vines are so invasive and dangerous, it's more like if a puppy had a steel trap on its paw and you were freeing it from the steel trap. So, slide please. What can you do? There's probably a lot of things. A few things I can think of. First, like me, you got to look around your own yard. If you got English ivy growing or other vines, nip them in the bud before they take over your trees or spread to your neighbors or public land. Second, alert neighbors to it. You'd be amazed how many people, unlike you perhaps, are ignorant of the threat. And you point out that, hey, these beautiful, valuable trees that give you shade and cooling and add value to your properties, they're being threatened by those vines climbing up them, and they're easy to cut and remove. Third, you can join Tree Friends or any other weed warrior organizations near you. If you want to join Tree Friends, we have a sign-in sheet in the lobby. Also, many of you have been looking out at the garden here. That garden is not there by itself. It's tended by Joe Salunas from this congregation and his team. It's a wonderful garden, well preserved. It's only well preserved because they go out there and tend it and cut those invasive vines too. So get in touch with Joe and help him. Also, you can, of course, join the River Road Earth Ministry. You could see Bruce or Heidi after the session. They have a broader environmental agenda that you can contribute to. And also, if it comes down to petitions, ballots, whatever, look for political leaders who show sensitivity to our environment and to the trees. There's been bills up to allow extending the amount of time that you can sell invasive plants at nurseries, which Tree Friends has been opposing. So if you have issues like that and want to contribute, you can chime in too. So with that, I'd like to thank you on behalf of Tree Friends and wish you all a great environment.
In support of our congregation and the community beyond, the morning offering will be gratefully received. We do so mindful of the fact that we draw water from wells we did not dig and pick fruit from trees we did not plant. This is as it should be, so long as we dig and plant for those who come after. If this is your first time visiting, please feel free to let the plate pass you by. Your presence is your gift to us. To learn more about why we give of our financial treasure, you can check out our website at rruuc.org. There you can find information on our vibrant programs and all the ways to connect to the mission and the vision of this community. You can also give right there on the main page by clicking the blue Give Online button. You can also text to give. The text to give number is 73256. Again, that's 73256. Type RRUUC and the amount you'd like to give. Thank you for sharing your time, your talents, and your treasure.
Our offertory today is now playing. Now we'll have an opportunity to ask questions and share comments with Hank and John and Una and Carl. If you all would like to come up here when my mic is on, yes. If you would like to raise your hand, if you have any question you want to ask Hank or John and his team, I'll come with the mic so that folks in the online audience can hear you. Yes. Zooming along. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. Thank you for your presentations and most of all for your advocacy and your hard work. Every Sunday when we drive to River Road, we go along Goldsboro Road. And the vines there are, of course, crawling across the wires. My question has to do with responsibility, be it political or commercial. The land there is either the country club, Kenwood, or it's the county, or it's the utilities whose power lines and telephone lines these things are hanging on. So who's responsible, if anyone, among those? Second question quickly is, what sort of authority or training or license or permit do you need in order to be eligible to go into that area, for example, and cut invasive vines?
A lot of the property belongs to the golf course, and we've been in touch with them. The vines are so extensive there. They are in fact happy to have help if anybody wants to volunteer. They did a little work last year. Any vines along the county roads and also the Maryland roads, the county is very happy to have volunteers go out and cut those. You don't need any authorization. So, you know, I guess, you know, contacting the golf course and stuff like that is useful. Trying to get them to spend more time and so forth. John was been working more on that. I guess there's another one also at Wilson and River Road. I don't know if you've noticed, there's a big patch of kudzu adjacent to St. Bartholomew's Church. And I've been out there working some. It used to be completely covering the lines at the corner. I cut that back, but you know, now it's all regrowing there. So the church would be happy to have people help out. I think also, again, just people calling, saying, please, you know, can you do something that would really make a difference?
Thank you. Does somebody have a question for Hank? If your question is for Hank. Charlotte.
Thank you, Hank. That was a great presentation. And I have two questions for you. First of all, do you transplant the mangroves up and down the river, or how do you manage that? Or in the nursery, they're all being grown in the nursery. Do you?
That's the first question?
Yeah. And the second question is, what connection do you have to the government of Tanzania, and whether you're totally independent or how you work as a U.S. nonprofit there?
So it was on. Now it's not. So first question, good question about the nursery. Our first approach was to use the forest as the nursery. The baby trees grow like grass underneath the mature trees. So with the different species, like the red species, they're about like 12 inches tall. We tried to transplant them out into a field of hardpan, complete failure, except for maybe a fraction of a fraction. So then plan B was to do nurseries. So like the nursery that you saw that was up in the mountains, we replicated that. So imagine walking underneath some beautiful trees, they're very tall, and 400,000 seedlings growing. And I was just there in June. That was a shot there. So now we outplanted those just this year, right at the beginning of the rainy season. You have to time things properly. Most look good when I was there in June. Some did not because we didn't trench far enough into the hardpan. So we're learning. That was the first question, right?
Well, yes, but what about the mangroves, which are coastal? You don't transfer those to the mountaintops.
No. Everything that you see is the habitat. So of course not. No, I mean, you know, we literally. They're tidal, correct. So it's brackish water. So sometimes they're on the direct ocean, but sometimes they're inland. That shot where you were is up the Pangani River, about a mile from the Indian Ocean.
And so you transplant those along the river.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, that's where we get the seeds.
Right.
We go into the healthy forests and harvest them for their seeds, and then plant them into the bare spots that have been created around the healthy forests. So we're just putting back what was already there. So that's number one. Number two, I try to stay away from governments as best as possible. Now, having said that, we are going to need to, because my model is just work with local organizations on the ground. I don't hire anybody. I work with the partner. They hire the people. They set the wages. They set the work schedules. They just tell me what they need. It has to make sense, and I do a third-party vetting of them. So I do background checks, bad actor checks, make sure that they're not some front for some horrible organization. So, and then I set up a donor-advised fund where I channel to, and they manage all that. So I do what I do, they do what they do, other people do what they do, and it all works together. Having said that, carbon markets are very interesting because they could be a source of huge amounts of money, quite frankly. And we just got some good news on that. So there could be some investors, if it's done right. If it's done right, carbon investors can get millions of trees planted quickly. Now that USAID money is gone, we're looking to private sector. And therefore, and when you do that, depending on the country, you absolutely have to involve the government. So what it is.
Now, as Hank said, the proper timing is important. And we have a choice to make, people. We can continue, because I saw a lot of hands go up, asking a few questions, but we still have a beautiful song to sing and song leaders to help us sing it, and a further poem. And the question is, shall we have 2 or 3 more questions, or would you like to talk to Hank and John and co while you're having your coffee? Choice 1, more questions now. Choice 2, more questions there. That seems better. I'm sorry, that felt short, didn't it? Brief and meaningful, indeed. What's that? What was your choice?
I have some experience with Rockville, which I'll tell another time, but I got the city to help do some of the work. The leader of the weed warriors that came and worked around my residence, which is a multifamily senior residence, said it's important to be trained by the county weed warrior program because volunteers have been observed cutting some of the native vines. There are native grapevines and so on, which need to be protected. And also, you didn't explain really, I mean, you did a great job, John. I think it's phenomenal. 2 things. You need to take a look at the River Road to the west of here for a couple of blocks. It's now in the bamboo, and the weeds are starting to grow over the highway. So you need to get a group started here. They need to get trained by the weed warriors so they know what's right to cut, and they're safe in doing it. And thank you for continuing to keep working on it. And call your local legislators, take pictures, send them pictures, the before and after. They need to be reminded constantly of what's important for them to be involved in. Thanks again.
All right, thank you again. Can we, yes?
Yeah, the Weed Warriors does provide great training. A lot of these invasive, if you come out with us, we can show you what they are. It's not hard to identify them. There are like 3 or 4 vines that are bad. A lot of people here knew what the porcelain berry is. That's great. So I really encourage you just to, take the initiative if you see vines killing trees. Recognize what the native ones are. They're not that many. Virginia creeper and a couple others. So anyway, that's our thoughts.
Thanks again. And now, yes. And now Walt and Crescent are going to help us learn a new hymn. I'm going to leave this with you in case it's not working.
Right. Please rise for hymn
Do you want this one?
1068. I'll take this one.
I think it's not on.
Okay. Shwai's going to play it through once, and then we'll sing it together. My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. The sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul, like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars, where the stars, where the stars forever have lain.
Glenn Pepple doing our invitation to live our values. Our Unitarian Universalist principles and values call us to live our values aloud, not alone, and encourage us to be open-minded, open-hearted spiritual communities helping people live lives of justice, love, learning, and hope. Here are some ways that you can today live your values. At coffee hour, which is going to be right out here, not in the fellowship hall, you can talk to our amazingly passionate speakers and their teams about their projects. Thank you, Hank and John. At a separate table, you can learn how to ask Montgomery County to plant a tree for you in your yard for free. And Joe Salunas, our RUC grounds guru, has prepared a self-guided tour of the trees of River Road. You can find your printed guide on the trees table and head outside when you're ready.
I'd like to share a poem with you today by Padma Venkatraman. She is an Indian-American author and a scientist. And one of the books she wrote is called Double Stars, The Story of Astronomer Caroline Herschel. So if you're interested in Caroline Herschel, that's an interesting book. Whenever you see a tree, think how many long years this tree waited as a seed for an animal or bird or wind or rain to maybe carry it to maybe the right spot, where again it waited months for seasons to change until time and temperature were fine enough to coax it to swell and burst its hard shell so it could send slender roots to clutch at grains of soil and let tender shoots reach toward the sun. Think how many decades of centuries it thickened and climbed and grew taller and deeper, never knowing if it would find enough water or light or when conditions would be right so that it could keep on spreading leaves, adding blossoms, and dancing. Next time you see a tree, think how much hope it holds.